Are you going to give me a cue?
It's good.
Oh, okay.
I played an evil reindeer.
I always wanted to play pretend. Soupy Sales School of Hangers and Drama.
Well, I actually enjoy Hurt Feelings.
There's a TV series called Supergirl that had a Superman. I didn't even get to read for that. Or they're scared of me, one of the two.
Okay.
What the hell's a monologue?
Is that Julie Andrews?
I'm passionate about that.
Show must go on.
Hi there, I'm Mike Fleming, and you're about to watch a session of Inside the Eclipse Studio. This is an ongoing series where we talk to actors and actresses, they're all actors these days, who work here in the Santa Clarita Valley and elsewhere. And I'm very, very pleased to welcome Felicia, Tamika, Sheppard, whom I had the opportunity to work with just a few months ago in a Zoom play, but we'll talk about that a little later. So Felicia, welcome to Inside the Eclipse Studio.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's indeed a pleasure, and I'm really fascinated. You know, when we worked in the show together, we really didn't have time to talk to each other about our lives as actors, and so this is going to be fun, at least for me. So
it's going to be fun for me because I like talking about acting. I love acting.
That's great. Well, let's get right on it, let's go back to the beginning. When did you first get involved in the entertainment industry?
You know what? When I was a kid, my mom used to put us in dancing school, and I loved that. I really loved going to dancing school. And then I'm from New York, so back then they would do free children's shows on Saturdays, and she would take us there. So I'm thinking that's why I got the bite. It bit me, and it hadn't let go yet. I love going in. It's now, even though I live in California, every time I go home, I'm always going to a show. I'm like, I can't be in New York and not see a show.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
So
I got bit a long time ago.
were you in New York City?
In Brooklyn and Queens.
Okay. So yeah,
So I am in the city part, yeah.
so you have the access to all that theater. Wow, that must have been amazing for a young child.
Yes, it was. It was. And as I grew up, I went to the theater a lot. I saw a lot of shows on opening night because it was just amazing. My high school was also in Manhattan, and my teacher was well connected to Broadway, and they would always give him tickets, and I would to everything. A lot of different shows. I went to Les Mis. I went to, oh my goodness, I can't even think of all the shows I went to.
Wow.
Fences, you name it, and I was there when it opened. 42nd Street, Cats. I was at everything. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Right.
That was amazing.
What a great upbringing. So now, when did you first get involved acting?
When I was first in elementary school, you know how we do little plays. So I did it in elementary school. I did it again in junior high school, and then again in high school. I was always doing it, always going to acting classes, always going to dancing classes. You name it, I wanted to be an actress. You know, it's so funny. I told my mother this story now, so I can say it again. But when I was in 7th grade, Erin came. It just happened to be that year. She's on All My Children. She was always fainting, and I wanted to just faint. So this boy was always bothering me in class. So we had a fight in the hallway, and then the vice principal was coming. So I just passed out. And I stayed still, and everybody's like, "Oh, she's faking it." I stayed still, and ended up having to take her to the doctor, and I just had fatigue. But I didn't tell my mother the truth until many years later. I was in 7th grade, and I had my Eric Kane faint moment, and it was amazing.
You know, I think back to my youth. I think I used my acting skills to get out of a lot of fights. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta use your head. There's always somebody bigger and faster than you. You know. So, well, now, if you could travel back in time and talk to yourself, that young, inexperienced actor, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
I just would training. Training is so important, you know. And what I do now and when I did then is that, you know, you have to observe people. You have to observe people all around you and constantly do it. And I was constantly doing it then, constantly doing it now, and be able to read people. Because an actor, you know, you have to bring so much and you have to make yourself so open and vulnerable. So in order for you to do that, at least for me, you have to be well trained and you have to be able to read people and, you know, to make your acting choices.
It reminds me of when I was in high school, the airports were not nearly as restricted as they are now. And one of my favorite things to do as a drama kid was to drive out to the local airport and just observe people, you know, all ages, young to ancient. How do they walk? How do they talk?
Exactly.
You know, all those things. It's all part of growing that toolbox. But now, speaking of training, what do you think is your most valuable training you had as an actor?
You know, I honestly believe that, I'm a Christian and I believe God gives us talents. And I really feel that that is definitely one of my talents. And then when I go to classes, I just go to fine tune it and learn like the basics and the one-on-ones. And I think as an actor, you should always keep going to classes. It's always fun to get on stage and play. But one, I think that I was given the talent, and two, the classes enhances my talent.
Do you get involved in improv at all?
Yes, I have done improv. I used to do, I did shows like weeks and weeks, maybe 10, 12 weeks. It was in Hollywood and it was an improv show and I like that. You know, I like improv, but I prefer scripted work. But I love the improv games. There's a lot of cool improv games. And that actually helps you to, I think the improv helps you more when you do audition, when you get an audition and, you know, especially now when most auditions are over Zoom or not over Zoom, but we're recording them. So I think it helps you a lot to do improv because sometimes they want you to do like a 1 minute improv. So yeah, improv does help. There's a place for everything. And improv is definitely one of those skills that everyone should have.
Yeah, maybe the difference is in a scripted show, you get to dig deeper, deeper, deeper. And in improv, it's right off the cuff.
It's right off the cuff.
Somebody throws you the ball and you got to decide what to do with it. And hope it lands.
Exactly. And and the one is the biggest secret of improv is that when you do it, you never want to be negative. You always want to say positive. So you always got to say something positive. It can be something so crazy, but you still have to say something positive. So that's one of the games that I like is stay positive, stay in the moment. And it helps you stay in the moment because you don't know, there's no script. You have to stay in the moment and you have to be believable at that point.
Yeah, I'm sure it can be scary, but you know, they say good growth comes out of making yourself uncomfortable. So now let me ask you something. So you started out in New York, and when did you move to California?
Wow, I moved to California maybe like 25 years ago.
Okay, and so when did you start getting involved in theater in Santa Clarita?
Actually, as soon as I came out because I had gotten a scholarship to go to Cal Arts.
Oh, okay.
And so I came out for graduate school. But I realized, although Cal Arts is a good school, back when I started, it wasn't a lot of African Americans. And I felt like they didn't know what to do with us. It was like, are they going to put us on the main stage? They didn't really wanted to, they put us in a lot of small parts. And there's no small actors, but I just felt like they didn't know what to do with us, so they were just going to throw us anywhere just to say that we were doing it. So it wasn't as good a program as I thought it was for African Americans. I know now it has changed. Have a lot more African American students going there, and which is great. But just even in regular society, when you turn on the TV, you don't see as many of us as you should. Especially now in 2021, there's way more of us now than there ever been on television, which I absolutely just love. But that's the thing. I think we have these writers and it doesn't matter what color you are, what race you are, you write for actors. So, but some people have a certain image in their mind and they can't see this being a different race or just a different person altogether. So you have to make it so that when you write, you can write for any of us, unless it's a specific piece, like a time period piece, but you can write for any of us. You can mix us up all the time. And they're mixing us up more now than they ever did before, but it just needs to be more.
Do you feel like there's enough projects for you to do here in Santa Clarita?
Well, it's so funny you say that because I started out here in CTG, which is the Kenny Diddy Gill, which was all the way on Sierra Highway a long time ago. It's funny, I ran into a woman at Target and she was going out of town and they needed a part. And I was like, okay, it was the blind story, Helen Keller's story. So I was like, okay. And I went out there, and that's when I originally met a lot of people out there, and I did it. But then every time I signed up, but then every time I got the postcard, it showed plays that, you know, I'm familiar with, but they're not normally, I didn't know if they were going to cross cast. So I didn't do it as much. And then when they moved out here, and then I didn't like driving all the way to Sierra High. It was really dark up there. I'm a city slicker. It's so dark over there. So then when they moved here into town on Main Street, it was like, okay, I'm going to do stuff. So I had befriended them, which was really good. And then when they did Hairspray, they wanted, when you do Hairspray, you need a certain amount of African Americans. So, you know, they called me up, and I was like, okay, I'll send, you know, some people that I know to do it. And then in the meantime, they had casting me, and I didn't realize they were casting me also. And after that, I had said, no matter what they do, I'm going to audition for. And I have been stuck ever since. But I have auditioned for everything, and I have been cross-cast, and I've been putting in roles that are not traditionally made for African American women. But I've done it, and I've loved it, and I love the theater, and I can't wait till we go back, because currently I am actually the board president of the CTD, and we are ready and waiting to come back when we get the notice of coming back. We have some great shows coming up, so I'm hoping everybody will come out in droves and do a lot of auditioning, because we are going to be nonstop. We do some really good work, and I'm proud of some of that work. And we have also we're doing more non-traditional pieces. And I guess what I mean by that is, you know, we did Lin-Manuel in the Heights, we did Sister Act. So we're doing more, because the problem is always, do we have enough African Americans out here? We do, but if they don't see what you're doing, they're like, oh, that's not for me. They're gonna do the same thing I'm doing. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to run for the board, so that we can mix it up. We definitely have to mix it up. So we're doing it, going down the road. We're definitely mixing it up. So I'm real happy about that.
You know, I commend you. First of all, I want to go back to what you said in the beginning, was that you decided that you were going to audition for everything, regardless of the parts that were out there. You were going to go for it. And you know what? That actually moved them in a different direction, I'm sure, because there's a point in which you have to go, hey, talent is talent. And we're going to go with this. On the second part of that, I commend you for getting active with the board, you know, being a voice in the wilderness, as they say, you know, that gets their attention. And, you know, you really hit on something about everybody anticipating when it opens up again. And I imagine it's just going to be the floodgates.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope so, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that have become discouraged over the past year. But, you know, can you imagine to actually do a show on a stage live again?
That would be great. Yeah, actually, one of the shows that I would have that I was slated to direct was Lady on the Fields. It was the same show that Sidney Poitier was in, and he won an Oscar for it. So I was slated to do that, and we're going to be doing that. So we have a lot of good things coming up, a lot of good musicals and comedies and a few dramas. So it's going to be a really good slate. And I know people are going to come back in drove, because although everybody has this new alternative, which is what we're doing now, doing in Zoom. Zoom is interesting and fun, and it has its moments, and you feel like you're working, but there's something lost in translation as far as being on stage and being in the moment with the actor face to face, as opposed to being on the screen. And I really think people are going to come back. The CTD is ready to open out doors as soon as the health department says, yes, open the doors. I've always had a good relationship with the CTD, and I'm looking forward to us just doing what we do best.
I think the main thing is Zoom is a miracle in a sense, that it's given people outlet this past year. But you know what's missing is that sound of applause.
Yes, we feed off of that.
That's no kidding. You know, it's
we feed off of that.
Yeah, the adrenal system kicks in, and you end up even being, you know, better than you even imagined, and the other actors respond as well. So anyway, I want to get back to your performance thing. Let's ask, what is this? Well, it's a twofold question. What's the scariest, and what's the most exciting experience you ever had on stage?
I was in a play in Hollywood, and it was a really good part, and I was doing it really well. And then all of a sudden, I just like blinked. I completely blinked. I forgot my lines. I completely forgot my lines, but the other actors were there feeding me my lines until I got back, and that was whoa. I was like, I mean, I know it all happens to us all, but when it happens on stage in front of people, you're just like, what do I do? What do I do? But it took me a few lines, and they got me back in it, so that was really good. So that was scariest, and I think the most funniest thing, Nancy Lances, who this is about her and her Eclipse Theater. Me and her have been several plays together, and I played this character called Cece, and she's a talk show host. And my wig came off, and Nancy picked it up and started gluing it back, and we like improv for that first minute. I'm gonna tell the hairdresser girl she needs to put better clips in my hair because this wig shouldn't have came off. So we went off stage, and then we ended up coming back, and we talked about it again. And I said, no, this wig's gonna stay. I already had to talk with the girl. So that was it. And it's so funny, even when I did Hairspray, again, my wig came off. And I put it back on, and it was on backwards, and it was hilarious. But I didn't miss the beat. I was Barry Aiken. He was my partner next to me in the Hairspray, and we just kept moving. We just kept it moving. I didn't stop or do anything. It's one thing I learned, acting 101. When something happens on stage that wasn't supposed to, you need to react to it. You can't just not react to it, because the audience are thinking, why aren't they reacting to it? You have to react to it because they don't know it shouldn't happen. We do. But as an actor, you just got to keep it pushing, and you have to keep doing it, because it just makes it that much more funnier, because it's not going to happen again. And my wig came off. Barry said, you think you can make that wig come off every night? He was the director. And I was thinking, no.
What do you think about theater on Zoom? We kind of touched on that.
You know what? I like it as a nice outlet, because to be off the stage for so long, it's like, whoa. It's one thing to be off because, you didn't get into the show, but it's nothing to be off because you can't. And it was a good outlet. I've done a couple of Zoom shows, and I liked it. So it's not the same, but it's entertaining, because I don't look at it as just Zoom. I look at it as television. And in TV, you're acting right here. So when you're acting right here and right here, it was a really good experience. Me and you did Casserole together, and I thought that was really good. It was funny, and you were an amazing actor in that. I mean, on our first audition, you were just like, our first scene, you were just I was like, wow, that's a powerhouse actor. And you did really well. And then we had some really good other actors in there with us. So, and then I also had opportunity to direct again with my buddy Barry. He does Theater in a Week. And I was able to direct 2 shows for him on Zoom, and I really enjoyed that. I like, as an actor, you want to make yourself involved, and you want to be in part of everything. You can't just be on the stage. You need to be able to stage manage. You need to be able to run the lights, the sound, costume. So I have done all of those things, and I've directed before, and now I've gotten a couple of chances to direct, and I absolutely love it.
All right, so here's a philosophical question for you.
Okay.
Living or dead, what person would you like to have a conversation with?
Okay, so it's so funny. I made a list because I wanted to make sure I said everybody's name. So I'm gonna go way back. This is Diane Carroll. She's an actress from way back when. She used to play on Dynasty as Dominique Devereaux, and I really liked her. She played a nurse. She played in another movie I can't remember, but it was an amazing movie, and I really like Diane Carroll. And then, of course, I'd be remiss not to say Oprah. I would love to play Oprah. I'd love to do Oprah's story. Viola Davis, she's actually amazing. Angela Bassett and Lynn Whitfield. And I know these are actors from long gone, but these are older women, but these are the women that, that I grew up watching, grew up seeing, and Cicely Tyson, who just passed away. Amazing actors. They've made some amazing choices. I've seen a lot of things they've done. And one more person. I cannot forget Diana Ross and Lady Sings the Blues. It just, how you see that one movie that just takes you. Diana Lady Sings the Blues, Oprah in anything, Viola Davis in anything. She did Fences, and it was just amazing. Angela Bassett when she did Tina Turner's story. Lynn Whitfield, she did the story of an African American who she's from here in the States, but she mostly did most of her work over in Europe, singing and dancing. She's called the Banana Woman. I can't remember her name, but it was really, really good. So there's a lot of people I'd like to talk to and pick their brains about the choices they made, and me picking their brain doesn't, when I like to pick someone's brain about this business, it's about the business. It's not about, your personal life, because that's not what I'm about. I'm about, the acting choices you made, the sacrifices, the compromises you had to make being an actor, being a Black woman. So those are the questions that I'd be more interested in asking about.
Well, listen, I think we're kind of at our time limit here. It's just been wonderful talking to you again. You have such an uplifting and positive viewpoint on the craft of the field. And it's, I'm sure, well, disappointment can be inherently part of theater and entertainment. And so to maintain that positivity and the light that you bring to it is just a wonderful thing to see. It really is.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I remember when I was a kid, and the last night I was a kid, and the book The Color Purple came out, and I really wanted to be in it. And then when I found out that Whoopi Goldberg got that part, I was like, I didn't even get a chance to audition. I was like devastated. But yeah, it's just parts that really touch you in certain places. And, I always like to think the glass is half full, and you need to be positive. We all have our moments that we want to just roll up and cry, but you have to stay positive, and I like to consider myself a positive person and think there's always the next time, the next audition, the next show.
Wonderful. Well, bless you for that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've spent a wonderful half hour with Felicia Tamika Sheppard. She's a wonderful actress, director, and she's involved with the board of Kenya Theater Guild. Really a positive force here in Santa Clarita and theater in general. So once again, thank you so much, Felicia, and we wish you the best.
Oh, can I just do one little thing? I also have my talk show called Talking with Felicia, and obviously I will be coming back doing more shows. I couldn't get away without, plugging my own show. And we're gonna return the favor. You're gonna come on my show.
Yeah, no problem at all. We'll look for it. Take care and God bless.
Bye.